Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching Wire with Sim again. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. And in today's video, we're going to be going over on how the storm is looking because not only did we see changes with the storm, but we're also going to show you how El Nino is still playing out so far. I was finally able to find something that would give you guys a lot better view of how El Nino is playing out. But before we get to that, we're just going to go ahead and look at the climate predictions and our outlooks. Because if you see, we're seeing some pretty well below above average temperatures for the south and as well as the Pacific West Coast. But if you look, we're even seeing below average temperatures for the Great Lakes region getting into New England. But the East Coast and as well as the West Coast, we are seeing some pretty well above average precipitation. At least that will be possible. So we will have to see what happens. But if you look right by the Dallas region, we could be talking some pretty well below average precipitation. But if we also look, we're seeing a more widespread area of below average precipitation heading into Arizona, into New Mexico. So this will be something to keep an eye on. But if we also look to the 8 to 14 day outlook, most of the United States is seeing some pretty well above average temperatures, while some areas are seeing near normal. It's just New England and the Mid Atlantic that are seeing some pretty well above below average temperatures across this area, but not really a huge concern because if you look, the drought does play out pretty good across the Texas, Oklahoma, and even excuse me, and even the Kansas region. But if you look at the east and west coast, we are seeing some pretty well above average precipitation too as well. So definitely something to be aware of. But if we also look at the temperature outlook, we actually got a decent chance for below average temperatures. So make sure to keep that in mind as we get into November 9th. Snow outlook, no snow outlook. Precipitation outlook, we do have a slight chance of precipitation on November 9th. Across the west coast, we're going to continue to see very heavy rain as we get into this time frame. But if we also look at the wind outlook, we got three areas: one for the west coast, one for southern California, and even one for New England. So I mean, we got three wind outlooks, which is pretty significant, at least for three different areas, and we got at least one bordering each corner of the United States. It's only the southeast that the wind outlook isn't on. But if you live in any of the three corners of the United States besides the southeast, make sure you do have your way to get some high wind warnings just in case. So yeah. Excessive rainfall outlook, we do have a marginal risk of flash flooding today across Washington into Oregon and even around Seattle. So we could be talking a little flash flooding, but definitely not going to be a giant concern because of how small the flash flood threat is. Total snowfall is anywhere from now to November 18th, and as you do see, we are already starting to see some snow for the northern United States, but we're even seeing some snow for New England too as well. And and if we also look over here, we are seeing some snowfall for much of the Rocky Mountains, but we are even seeing a ton of snowfall for Washington, which makes sense because then I tell you guys that we were seeing a ton of rainfall here, but only in the higher elevations we'll be talking a ton of snowfall. So I mean, definitely something to be aware of if you live in Washington. But like anywhere else, maybe a few inches or so, but definitely not for the Ohio Valley and even those places around it. But we look at the jet stream. This is what's going to be showing us how the storm will play out. We're going to go ahead and take this forward, and as you do see, we actually got a little bit we actually have a concern later this month, and I'll actually go ahead and show you that. It's this low pressure system developing literally south of the Ohio Valley, because we never had that happen for a pretty long time. We could definitely be talking a severe weather outbreak for the Ohio Valley into the south region, and that's kind of why for my title I did put severe weather possible for a lot of this area. So we'll have to see how it plays out as we get into November 13th. We may see something happen on November 10th. At least that's what I've been hearing, but it doesn't look like we'll see very at many active things for that area. But I mean, this is something to really be aware of. But like, we'll even continue to see some high pressure systems go through the south, maybe through the lower Ohio Valley. But this one low pressure system that moved through the lower Ohio Valley into the mid and then upper Ohio Valley, we'll have to see if that really wants to give us some severe weather. So yeah, make sure you guys do be aware of that. But we do take a look at the radar. We're gonna go ahead and take this forward, and as you do see, it continues to stay pretty dry across the Ohio Valley. We may be talking a little round of showers and maybe even a brief thunderstorm as we get into November 5th. But if we also take this forward again, we got our low pressure system up here to the north that will bring a risk for some snowfall, maybe mixed with thunderstorm, which is pretty rare. We don't usually see thunderstorm mixed with snow. But if we also look at this, we may also sorry guys, I'm just really congested, so I'm really sorry to make my voice sound weird, but I mean, that's kind of just what happens to me a lot, is I'll get congested sometimes. So I mean, I'm not trying to be rude to you guys, but I mean, I do have it, so I kind of do have to deal with it. But yeah, anyway, but we do have a line of storms possibly going through the lower Ohio Valley and even through the mid Ohio Valley. We're going to take this forward, and as you see, that low pressure system will go through and head towards New England, bringing maybe a small risk for some showers and even a brief thunderstorm again. So we're talking some isolated showers and storms across the Ohio Valley, but mostly just staying dry. And as you see, as we get into November 13th, we're talking some pretty active storms coming through the lower Ohio Valley, and that's what I said. We could be talking about a slight risk, and why not an enhanced risk of severe weather heading from the upper Ohio Valley down through the south region and into the Gulf of Mexico. But we'll have to see. It may just head from the lower Ohio Valley into the south region, or it may just include the south region. We do not know. So we'll have to see how this wants to play out. But we may even not see any severe weather at all. We're literally like 8 days out, so we don't really know how everything will be playing out with this storm. If we look at the total precipitation, the day from for now to November 18th, and as you see, we are seeing at least a beneficial amount for all of the eastern United States, but we are also seeing up to a foot of rainfall for lots of the northwest United States. So yeah, definitely something to be aware of. And as you see, for today, which is day one, we're talking some rain and even some snow. It looks like we do have an area of freezing rain possible. At least it says it on the thing. We'll actually go ahead and zoom in. I'm just trying to find this freezing rain possible, because it literally shows all of the things that are shown on the maps. It's definitely not over here. Well, let's see. Still, might be in Florida. It might be in Canada, but we'll see. Huh. That's kind of weird, because, I mean, I haven't found it yet, but, I mean, it usually shows everything that is shown down here on the key on the left-hand side, so, I mean, that's okay. Ooh, did I find it? I thought I did, but I think that's the snow gain into the mixed precipitation gain into the snow, so, I mean, yeah. Ooh, I think I actually might have found it. Oh yeah, I did find it. I just have to zoom in some more. Gosh, that was so hard to find. I was like, why is there a possible freezing rain area? But if you look, portions of Washington, in Washington, we're talking a small area of some freezing rain. I'm sorry this takes a little bit to load, but if you look, there's in Washington, literally in eastern Washington, two areas of freezing rain possible. And I mean, very isolated, very, very isolated freezing rain. But if you do live in one of these areas in Washington, we're talking some freezing rain possible, okay? Sorry, I wasn't able to find those at first. Gosh, those were so small. But as we do take a look at the tropics, we do have a 30% chance in the next 7 days, pretty low chance in the next 2 days. But if we also look at the Eastern Pacific, Pilar is it's been pretty dying down. I mean, if you look, it's expected to die down as a tropical depression as it gets and heads toward like Hawaii, but I mean, it is kind of heading slightly towards the El Nino area, so this may redevelop and kind of take a similar path. Besides, it will be farther north though. But if you also look, those continue to be a upper mid tropical storm for a pretty long time. That they might have a few areas where it does develop a little bit, but I mean, those just gonna slowly but surely start to die down. So it won't be dying down till Tuesday after midnight. So we'll have to see. It could develop or it could even die down later, but we'll see. As you look at the models, some of the models were actually showing that Pilar could actually redevelop as a Category 1 hurricane, at least on the very low end of it, but most of them are showing a tropical depression or tropical storm. So, this is most likely going to be either an upper tropical storm to a low tropical depression. So, we'll have to see. But not very concerning by land impacts, or if this were to really impact Mexico. But if we look at the ocean temperatures, if you look, we are actually seeing some pretty strong El Nino across this area. Some pretty active, strong El Nino. Not joking. If you look, we got well above average sea surface waters across pretty much just south of Central America, or maybe even right at Central America. But I always thought El Nino would be right here, but we're actually seeing slightly cooler temperatures right there. But I mean, the temperatures are kind of slightly below normal in some areas. That's called La Nina, but it's not cool enough to be called La Nina, so not really a big concern. But if this does really start to ramp up, we may see a La Nina event this sometime next year. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. But as we look at the sea surface temperatures or El Nino, you can call it either one, but if you look, the El Nino and sea surface temperatures continue to grow into the very strong range, because if you look, it's well above the zero line, which means pretty much well above average sea surface waters, and it's going to continue to grow. But we're seeing super El Nino right now for where it's at, and this is going to be on November 2. This is literally where we're at right now. See, as we got into August, this continued to grow and stay over the 1.0 line, and then as you see it continue to grow, and now it's touching the 1.5 line. Holy moly, this is extremely high for El Nino. But I mean, since we're already seeing El Nino, I mean, we're talking already in the El Nino impact right now, possibly, but we'll have to see. Thank you guys very much for watching. I was congested throughout the video, so I do apologize for that, but hope you guys did have a great day. If I get to 50 subscribers, I will go live on my mobile. I will at least do a live stream to show you guys how it also works too as well. So if you guys would just give me 2 more subscribers, that would be great. I should be able to go live on my mobile as soon as I reach 50 subscribers. So thank you guys very much for subscribing, and we will see you tomorrow.